What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Just before we get into the video, don't forget to like or dislike the video, subscribe, turn on notifications and leave a comment down below. While Wrestlemania has been going strong since 1985 and shows like Survivor Series, Royal Rumble and SummerSlam close behind, not all WWE pay-per-views have lasted long. Here are 15 WWE pay-per-views that only happened once. Number 1. The Wrestling Classic. This show has become more of a trivia question than anything else, as the show would largely be forgotten except that it airs on WWE Network for anyone willing to check it out. The idea behind the Classic was to put WWF's top stars into a tournament and feature a bonus match of Rowdy Roddy Piper challenging WWF champion Hulk Hogan for the title. The tournament stands out as a good example of WWF wrestling at the time. Short matches with a lot of big name talent and few clean finishes. The Junkyard Dog would win the tournament, defeating Randy Savage with a countout victory. Unlike other wrestling tournaments, there was no kayfabe prize. However, there was one real life prize for any lucky fan. The WWF awarded a Rolls Royce to a randomly selected winner, quite an unusual giveaway, and one not revisited until the WWF's first In Your House show, where the WWF awarded a house to one lucky winner. Number 2. No Holds Barred. The Match, the Movie. One of the WWF's most unusual pay-per-views was this show that aired Hulk Hogan's first feature film foray, No Holds Barred, followed by a match featuring the film's co-star Zeus. Hogan teamed with Brutus Beefcake to take on the team of Randy Macho Man Savage and Zeus in an entertaining steel cage match. The two teams had been battling since the summer of 1989, with Vince McMahon doing everything possible to squeeze money out of his No Holds Barred film. The idea of fans wanting to sit through No Holds Barred to watch one wrestling match was both insane and novel. Still, the show drew a 2.5 compared to the previous month's Survivor Series, which drew a 3.3 buy rate, proving that the WWF was hot enough at the time to pull something like this off. Number 3. This Tuesday in Texas. This Tuesday in Texas was the WWF's attempt to run shorter pay-per-views following a big show. In this case, 1991's Survivor Series. The WWF hoped that The Undertaker's controversial win over Hulk Hogan at Survivor Series, along with the first match between Jake Roberts and Randy Savage, would entice fans looking to pass some time on a Tuesday night. However, an undercard of Brett vs Skinner, Ted DiBiase and Repo Man vs Tito Santana and Virgil, and Davey Boy Smith vs the Warlord made this pay-per-view seem like a subpar Saturday night's main event. The concept failed, but the WWF would revisit it with its In Your House pay-per-views, 2-hour shows that aired in between the big four. The WWF eventually returned to Tuesday night pay-per-views when it aired its Taboo Tuesday shows. Considering Survivor Series did a 2.2 buy rate, this Tuesday in Texas's 1.0 buy rate was certainly disappointing. Number 4. Ground Zero In Your House. The WWF's In Your House shows was the company's response to WCW running 12 shows a year. Originally, In Your House only aired 2 hours, but with Ground Zero, the shows went to a full length and full price. The WWF began putting the title before In Your House, and eventually dumped the In Your House subtitle entirely, so shows like Unforgiven In Your House just became Unforgiven. Ground Zero featured the WWF's first triple threat match, a HBK vs Undertaker bout that set up the Hell in a Cell match, and Bret Hart defending his WWF Championship against the Patriot. Number 5. One Night Only. For the first time since SummerSlam 1992, held at Wembley Arena, the WWF would make its pay-per-view return in the UK at the NEC Arena in Birmingham, England. This time, however, only UK fans were treated to the pay-per-view, as it could only be ordered on Sky Box Office in the UK. Controversially, a title change would happen. Much like SummerSlam's 1992 headliner, hometown wrestler Davey Boy Smith was the favourite, and it was no different going into the pay-per-view, as Shawn Michaels would face the British Bulldog in the main event for the European title. However, having Michaels defeat its champion that night garnered much heat. But One Night Only was just that, with the WWE never bringing back the name. Number 6. D-Generation X In Your House. 1997 saw the WWF picking up steam in its war with WCW. One of the frontline fighters was D-Generation X, the cutting-edge heel group that delighted their fans with their hilarious and racy promos. Hunter Hearst Helmsley and Shawn Michaels also delivered solid matches with their opponents, and the presence of Bodyguard Chyna and Ravishing Rick Rude can't be overlooked. This pay-per-view featured Ken Shamrock challenging Michaels for the WWF Championship, as well as the first pay-per-view encounter between The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. While there would be no more shows named after DX, they remained a presence on WWF shows over the next few years. Number 7. Breakdown in Your House. By 1998, the WWF was putting on entertaining shows on a consistent basis, but the stipulations for the main event made this show a bit unbalanced. Perhaps the reason for the show's title. Stone Cold Steve Austin defended his WWF Championship against The Undertaker and Kane in a triple threat match, where Taker and the Big Red Machine couldn't pin each other. Confused? How about the match ending with both Brothers of Destruction covering Austin to win the WWF title? Number 8. Capital Carnage. This being the second ever UK based pay-per-view, Capital Carnage would of course take place in the UK's capital city of London in 1998. This being the late 90s, UK WWF fans were hungry for any WWF action. Unfortunately, the WWF capitalized on this, and many of the matches on the card weren't continuing feuds and had no storyline build-up, leaving them to be a bit flat. Plus, we've never heard a WWF Championship match to be so quiet, with the unlikely X-Pac receiving a title shot against The Rock. But a solid triple threat main event had the crowd going nuts. Number 9. Rock Bottom in Your House. Just as DX's popularity was used to hype up a show, so too did the WWF use The Rock's momentum to hype this In Your House event. Ironically, The Rock didn't main event the show, instead defending his WWF Championship against Mankind, while the main event featured Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker. Future Hall of Fame announcer Jim Ross had to sit this show out, leading to Michael Cole filling in. After listening to Cole's commentary in place of Jim Ross, you may find a new meaning to the show's title, Rock Bottom. Number 10. St. Valentine's Day Massacre in Your House. Since this event was set in February, why not name it after an infamous gangland massacre that happened on Valentine's Day? This 1999 show was main evented by a steel cage match between Mr. McMahon and Stone Cold Steve Austin, with Austin's WrestleMania main event match on the line. Things looked bleak for McMahon until Paul White tore a hole through the mat apron canvas and entered through, attacking Austin. Unfortunately, during the melee, White accidentally pulled Austin through the cage, giving Stone Cold the win. Number 11. Invasion. As much as the WCW ECW invasion angle was crapped on, the initial pay-per-view featuring the WWF taking on the members of the Alliance was one of the WWF's most successful pay-per-views of all time. Invasion featured a number of excellent matches, including the all-time Horn Dog favourite Bra and Panties match between the WWF pair Trish Stratus and Lita against WCW's Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson, but sadly, the Invasion angle went downhill from this show on. Number 12. Breaking Point. What is your breaking point? This was the concept behind this pay-per-view, built around several submission matches. Whether it was DX taking on the Legacy in a tag team submission match, John Cena battling Randy Orton for the WWE Championship in an I Quit match, or CM Punk defending the World Heavyweight Championship against The Undertaker in a submission match, these matches all had to end in wrestlers giving up. The concept actually proved to be a good one, except for the CM Punk bout, which ended in a screwjob because naturally, the show took place in Montreal. Number 13. Fatal 4-Way. Fatal 4-Way matches can add some variety to a title defense, but running a pay-per-view with 3 Fatal 4-Way matches proved to be overkill. On this night, the Divas Championship, the WWE Championship, and World Heavyweight Championship were all defended in Fatal 4-Way matches. The WWE Championship match featuring champion John Cena battling Sheamus, Randy Orton and Edge until outside interference by the Nexus led to Sheamus stealing the win. Number 14. Capital Punishment. The WWE writers proved that no one knows how to use a thesaurus like they do when it comes to naming pay-per-views. This show was set in Washington DC, so it seemed obvious to name it Capital Punishment since the show was set in America's capital and featured the WWE punishing viewers with a number of TV quality matches that somehow made it to pay-per-view. R-Truth's main event match with John Cena for Cena's WWE Championship was something different, but not necessarily what fans paid to see. And number 15, Great Balls of Fire. This year's July pay-per-view name was certainly a strange choice, and received heavy criticism on social media after its reveal. It seems, however, the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view was a one-off, as next year's schedule does not include the pay-per-view on its list. Well guys, there you have it. 15 one-time WWE pay-per-views. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.